Just because the world hasn't clapped for you yet doesn't mean you're not doing the work. The world moves on faster than you are ready to move on, faster than you're able to process what's happening. We are so addicted to external validation. Am I doing enough? What if this doesn't work? What if that doesn't work? And it becomes a cycle. If you're trying to keep going when nothing is making sense and the rug just got pulled out from under you, just know you're not broken. You're being rebuilt. All right, you guys, you want to hear something else no one ever really talks about? No one really talks about what it feels like when life knocks the freaking wind out of you. Not metaphorically, I mean literally. Like you go to bed thinking everything is fine. Everything might not be perfect, but everything is fine. And then you wake up and your reality is nothing you ever asked for. And here's the part that stings the most. You were doing everything right. You showed up, you over-delivered, you made promises and kept them. You operated the way you were supposed to. You were loyal, you were kind, you were overgiving, and somehow that still wasn't enough to keep the ground beneath you steady. The part that no one prepares you for is the moment when you feel like your plans, your title, your accomplishments, your whole sense of direction, it just vanishes. And all you're left with is one quiet question. What the hell am I supposed to do now? This isn't about starting fresh on your own terms. This is about you getting sucker punched and somehow trying to figure it out, somehow try to keep everything afloat. And I want to talk about that because I think people have gone through those experiences, whether it be unexpected job loss or shifts in your personal relationship dynamics. So let's talk about it. Welcome to the Upgrade with Elle. This episode is for anyone who's ever had their world flipped overnight. Maybe you got laid off. Maybe the plans that you had that you just gave 10 years of your life to, suddenly those plans don't exist anymore. Everything's not working out the way that you thought it was going to. Maybe you're choosing to start a new chapter and start over in some way, shape, or form. And you're wondering how the hell you're going to turn this mess into something that makes sense. You're not alone. Many of us have been there. I've been there in a number of different ways, personally, professionally. So today I want to talk about what rebuilding looks like when you actually are in the thick of it and when the reset really wasn't your idea. It was handed to you. Because I know how it feels to smile in public and be spiraling in private, to question your own worth, your timing, your purpose, everything. I also know what kind of power can rise from that exact place. And that is so important to focus on. And let me tell you what no one says out loud. When life blindsides you, there's no immediate clarity. There's just utter chaos. You're not inspired. You're not ready. You're not open to what's next, even though you might say you are. You're stunned. You're frozen. You're running through every conversation, every decision, trying to figure out what you missed. What did you overlook? What did you not see? And that's the thing about unexpected resets. You don't get a warning shot. You don't get anything that prepares you. You just get the silence. You get the email, you get the final conversation, and suddenly everything that you thought was solid turns liquid. I've been there. And early in my career, I got laid off. And I remembered sitting there in my car afterwards, staring at the steering wheel like, wait a minute, what just happened? I knew it was possible, but I didn't think it would happen to me. And the harder thing was that losing that security felt like I was losing everything, even though I wasn't. I had spent years building a brand, building a name, building up accomplishments, doing things the right way. I wasn't doing things in a shady way. I was building relationships the right way. That was so devastating for me. And here's what makes it even worse. People really don't know what to say in these moments. I mean, they kind of do, but they really don't, especially if they've never been through it. They say things like, oh, something better is coming and, you're going to bounce right back. And I get it. They mean well. They really do. But that doesn't help when your identity feels like it's in pieces. Okay, it's really tough when you're navigating those moments. And what you really want someone to say is I know it hurts. I know it freaking sucks. I know you may not have been prepared for this. And I am so sorry that you're having to navigate this. A lot of times you just have to give people grace. because not everyone has been through these experiences. So if that's you right now and you're in the wreckage of that kind of a moment, I'm not here to rush you through the difficulties. I'm just here to tell you that you're not crazy for being in shock. You are not alone in that. This isn't a growth moment quite yet. Remember that right now is a grief moment, and that's okay. You can have grief in these moments. You deserve space to grieve. Whatever it was that you had worked towards that got you to that place, you spent time building that. And once the shock wears off, what comes next is something we're going to talk about, but identity grief is a real thing. It's not just a job loss or a title or a plan. You lost the version of you that was wrapped up in all of that. And it's not just something you can bounce back from in a week or a couple days. It's a full body recalibration. For years, many people that I know introduced themselves through titles, through what they do for work. I always laugh because being in the DMV, it's like the first thing someone's going to ask you when you meet them out is, well, what do you do? I used to hate that about being in the DMV because you're so much more than your identity, but that's how people categorize you. You start asking yourself things like, if I'm not that person anymore, then who am I? How do I contribute if I can't identify by the work that I do? And that's wild because it's not even about ego. It's about belonging. It's about where you fit in the world. And when you're in between these identities, in between these different versions of yourself, it feels like you're invisible, like you're floating through a space without a tether. And let me be real for a second. I remember having mornings where I didn't even want to check my email. I did not want to open my computer or look at my phone because I just knew that I was going to receive either silence or some sort of rejection. And when your structure of self-worth is tied to these performance measures through your identity at work, it sucks. But here's the truth I had to learn the hard way. Just because you're no longer who you were doesn't mean you're lost. It doesn't mean you are not valuable. It means you're in transition. And transition isn't the absence of identity. It's becoming a new one. But grieving the old version of you, that's necessary. And that's a part of the process, and that's okay. Don't skip that part. Don't rush through it because it's uncomfortable. You'll hear that from me all the time. Don't avoid the uncomfortable because the version of you that's about to emerge, that person is being built from truth, not just titles. Don't let your worth be rooted in the work that you do for anybody. Unless you're working for yourself, then your worth can be rooted in that. But let's talk about the space after the shock wears off, okay? Because when people assume you're okay, that's kind of this space. But deep down, you know that you're not really okay yet. You're not done spiraling and you're not feeling grounded either. You're in limbo and it's super weird and foggy. It's gray. It's a very gray space. Not to be who you were before, but you don't know quite who you're becoming yet. And here's what no one tells you. That space is disorienting. It's very hard. It's very uncomfortable. And honestly, it can be extremely exhausting. You're waking up trying to build momentum, but there's no structure. There's no routine. There's no applause. There's no external validation. There's no feedback loop on how you're doing and if you're doing a good job. The world moves on faster than you are ready to move on, faster than you're able to process what's happening. Your phone stops buzzing. People's check-ins kind of dwindle. And even when they ask how you're doing, it's clear that they're kind of hoping that you quickly move on from that topic of discomfort of I don't have a job still or I haven't still figured this thing out yet. But how do you explain that you feel unanchored? How do you explain that every day feels blurry, that you're still going through the motions, but you're not quite sure if you're even doing it right? You still feel slightly out of focus. And the wild part is you could be in a room full of people, say at a networking event or a dinner, and feel completely unseen, especially in these moments because nobody understands how heavy this transition really is. They're not the ones waking up every day with anxiety. They're not the ones refreshing their inbox for interview feedback. They're not the ones calculating their rent, their mortgage, their other responsibilities they have, all while trying to feel optimistic on a Zoom call, asking questions that the recruiters ask. This space is brutal, not because anything is dramatic, but it's just gray. There's no big moment. There's no dramatic turning point. It's just this steady hum of discomfort that you're trying to find your footing again. But here's the part I want you to hold on to. Feeling ungrounded doesn't mean you're failing. It means your old structure is gone. And now you're being invited to build something new. something that actually fits. Here's what no one tells you about trying to rebuild your life. It's not just about getting a new job or finding a new path or updating your LinkedIn. It's about the mental war that starts the moment the world stops clapping for you. I want you to hear that. We are so addicted to external validation. It's waking up and trying to believe in yourself without proof, without a schedule, without a paycheck, without anyone telling you you're doing great. You're walking into rooms you no longer feel qualified to be in. That's the honest truth. People go through these moments. There's nothing wrong with them for feeling that way, because the version of you that used to own that space doesn't exist anymore. And now you're having to recalibrate. And that's constant. Every email feels loaded. Every social media scroll feels like a comparison trap. Don't let it be that for you. Every day you don't get good news, it chips away at your confidence just a little bit more. And I want to protect you from that. You start overthinking things that you never used to question before. Should I post this? Do I sound too desperate here? Am I doing enough? What if this doesn't work? What if that doesn't work? And it becomes a cycle. Overthink, compare, doubt, shut down, repeat. And even when something good does happen, an interview, a new opportunity, a new networking connection, you don't even celebrate, because part of you is still holding your breath, waiting for the other shoe to drop. That's the part that breaks people, not the layoff itself, the silence, the slow erosion of self-belief that happens when the results don't come in fast enough. But this is where I'm going to challenge you. Just because the world hasn't clapped for you yet doesn't mean you're not doing the work. Just because it hasn't shown up externally doesn't mean nothing is happening internally. Let these moments change you. Let these moments rebuild who you are. You're rebuilding something that wasn't built to break this time. You're building something honest within you, inside of you. You're building something that's rooted, something that's yours. And that takes longer. It takes more from you. It's harder, but it gives more back. So no, you're not behind. Don't fool yourself into thinking that. You're under construction. And I need you to stop measuring your progress by how loud the results are. Measure it by how often you choose not to quit. That's how you measure your results. How many days you don't give up. Here's what I want you to know. After falling apart, after starting over, after rebuilding piece by piece, you don't come out of that season the same person. You come out clearer, cleaner, wiser, sharper. You start to see through the fluff, the noise, the people who only clap for you when you're winning. The parts of your identity that were tied to things that were never meant to hold you. You'll never be back in an environment again where you give others the power to validate you in that way. You realize the version of success you were chasing wasn't even yours. It was handed to you, taught to you, sold to you, but never actually fit you. And now you get to choose again with intention, with clarity, with lived experience that cannot be unlearned. This is what this reset is. It's not punishment. I promise you it's a permission slip. Look at it that way. It's a chance to become someone who doesn't need external validation to know their worth. Someone who's not performing for applause, but building from alignment. Someone who doesn't just bounce back. They rebuild in a way that makes collapse impossible in the future. This is all internal work. This is not stuff you see on your resume. I know it hurts, and I know you're tired. And I know it might be taking you longer than you thought, but I need you to hear this. Nothing is being wasted. I have been through these seasons, and I promise you, you are going to be okay. The silence, the slow days, the lessons that come wrapped in pain. You're not being punished. You're being positioned, repositioned. And you're never meant to go back to who you were before these moments. You're here in this moment to become someone new. And when this new version of you fully stands up, people won't even recognize the strength that took you to get there. But you know who's going to know? God. God's going to know, and that is enough. If this episode spoke to you, if you're rebuilding in silence, if you're fighting to believe in yourself again, if you're trying to keep going when nothing is making sense and the rug just got pulled out from under you, just know you're not broken. You're being rebuilt, and that's okay. And what's coming on the other side of this, what's going to be on the other side of this season will all make sense at some point. I know it doesn't feel like that right now. I know the silence can feel like failure, but it's not. It's construction. You're becoming someone new, someone stronger, someone more aligned. And when you finally step into that version of yourself fully, there will be no going back. So as always, I want to leave you with two things. The biggest risk is not failing. It's staying the same. And you cannot change the past, but you can absolutely decide on the future. So upgrade accordingly. This has been the Upgrade with Elle. And if it hit home for you, I want you to share it. Send it to the person who's trying to hold it together and who just needs this reminder as badly as you did. Your upgrade is already in motion, and I don't want you to stop now. The other thing that I want to share with you is that I just opened up one-on-one coaching sessions. So if you need support in your reset, if you need clarity in this moment, I want you to go to my website at theupgradewithelle.com and you can check out the options and book your session there.